Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime, and welcome back to yet again another Tokyo Ghoul Re-episode review. Today we will be discussing episode 2 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, so without further ado, let us begin. Alright, so with episode 1 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, we kind of headed in, head first into the action, and that is something that really shouldn't have been, progressed as quickly as it should have within the very first episode of Tokyo Ghoul Re. In the first episode, we pretty much had 6 chapters of the manga adapted, which kind of, basically set aside the character interactions that should have been prevalent for the beginning of the series before getting up to the conclusion of what we saw in episode 1. And also, it didn't really explain the world building, as much as it should have. But I'm sure that when it comes down to the world building, more of us will get used to that when it comes down to, at least for the anime onlys. I mean, manga readers, you don't have anything to worry about, but I can see your frustrations on what you guys are probably thinking of the anime at this point when it comes down to episode 1 of Tokyo Ghoul alone, or Tokyo Ghoul Re alone. But with episode 2 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, it kind of redeems itself. With episode 2 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, we actually get 3 chapters of the manga adapted this time around, which actually, in my personal opinion, is what every studio should follow by in terms of its pacing for episode content. 3 chapters at the maximum. Anything above that, you're kind of rushing the story a little bit too much, and most likely are skipping out on certain aspects of the series that should be dived into, which episode 1 of Tokyo Ghoul Re kind of let me down on, because as I said before, it adapted 6 chapters of the manga and rushed things. But with Tokyo Ghoul Re episode 2, we got 3 chapters of the manga adapted, and in my personal opinion, was paced very, very well, and also ended off on that beautiful conclusion at Anteku. Also in this episode of Tokyo Ghoul Re, not only did we see the beautiful conclusion, but we also saw, some characters actually being reintroduced in the series. There's some notable characters actually from Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 that, got shown up in Tokyo Ghoul Re. We get to see Ayato, we get to see Toka, we get to see Yomo, we also get to see Nishiki Senpai, which also happens to be the individual that Hayase Sasaki was going up against in, at the conclusion of last week's episode, as well as in the first half of this week's episode of Tokyo Ghoul Re. When it comes down to Hayase Sasaki, it seems as though there are vast similarities and characteristics that are quite apparent comparing him to the original Kaneki. Now, I'm not going to go into any specifics, but if you guys can use common sense, you can kind of deduce the fact that when it comes down to Hayase Sasaki, especially when it comes down to the conversation that he has with Arima in this episode, that's also another thing. We also got introduced to Arima, so that's always a good thing. But when it comes down to the conversation that they were having, one of the things that ends off the conversation with Hayase Sasaki saying that, I really cherish this whole thing that I built up for these past 2 years. I have no idea what has happened in my other 20 years of living. Okay, it points at that factor. But with these 2 years as Hayase Sasaki, I have built something that I cherish, that I don't want to let go of, even if it is something make pretend. So it kind of also brings up the factor that, hey, maybe Hayase Sasaki has some personality disorder, or maybe his memories are gone. So I'll let you guys be the judgments of that, but just keep in mind there's a lot more to it in the manga, so you might want to go ahead and read upon that. And we also got introduced to Furuta in this episode, which is insane, but I mean, hey, we, in the opening kind of did spoil the fact that Furuta was in the opening, but to see him this early on, I'm just like, oh wow. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to really dive into the whole Furuta thing because of the fact that, I mean, there's anime onlys possibly watching my review of this, and also I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so yeah. But when it comes down to Furuta, just be on the lookout for you anime onlys. Be on the lookout for this individual because he will appear more often in the series than just once. So yeah, just keep on the lookout for this individual. But yeah, when it comes down to Tokyo Ghoul Re episode 2, Personally, I really didn't have any problems with this episode. Episode 1, personally, deserved a thumbs down, in my personal opinion, just on how much material was skipped. It wasn't exactly horrible, mind you, but episode 2 did disappoint me as a Tokyo Ghoul manga reader. For anime onlys, you guys probably won't have a problem with that, but for episode 1 of Tokyo Ghoul as a manga reader, I personally did not really enjoy it that much. There were certain aspects that I did enjoy, but just keep in mind it wasn't bad as many people are saying, but it's still kind of disappointed. When it comes down to episode 2 of Tokyo Ghoul on the other hand, though, ending off on that beautiful conclusion, as well as adapting 3 chapters, you know, having good pacing, and these character interactions. Also, we got Ayato in this chapter as well. He's taking the place of Rabbit. If you guys remember in the original Tokyo Ghoul, Rabbit was essentially Toka, but instead, Ayato is actually under the guise of Rabbit now. So now it seems as though there is something going around, you know, there when it comes down to Aogiri Tree. And also, we get a new antagonist that the characters are now after. Torso managed to escape, but that was who was prevalent in the very first episode of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Now in episode 2, and carrying on over, we are going to get introduced to a new villain named Nutcracker, who is essentially a female ghoul who simply nutcracks. Yeah, so, yeah. Enjoy that! But yeah, anyways, I had fun with this episode of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What did you think about it? I thought it was a personally good episode. Definitely leagues better than episode 1 of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit that red subscribe button down below if you want to stay updated to future content on the channel. And with that said, everyone, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.